Hi everyone and welcome. So today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making a pair of lounge trousers. So what I'm going to take the pattern off, this is actually a pair of pyjama bottoms that are mine, and I'm simply going to take the pattern off these because we're very similar sizing. Now you will find as well with trousers that the back piece is bigger than the front because, and the waist is higher up because you've got to incorporate your butt, the shape of that and coming up. But I'm going to cut these to one leg, and I'm going to do it so that basically I've got two pieces. On here there's actually 4 pieces to this, front and back, but I'm going to cut them a little bit bigger, and then I'm just going to basically do them to 2 pieces because it's not going to be going out in them. It's not going to be, like I said, visiting, out shopping in them. They're literally just to put on when he gets home from work and he goes and gets changes, just a pair of trousers that I can relax in before he goes to bed. But I'm going to start off basically by pulling one leg through. In fact, I need to turn them both through. And then pulling one leg through into the other, shaking it down so that the legs there. So let me just put you down so you're going to be able to see everything what I'm doing. So let me just get these seams together. There, that. Now, for a woman, obviously, we've got shapely hips. Well, I'm not going to be doing them to a shapely hip. I'm going to straighten it up when it comes to the waist. Right, so I need to just... So I've got the fabric and I've got it folded over. So like I said, this is 2 pieces, the pyjama bottoms, but I'm going to literally do it to 1 piece. So the outside seam, which runs down your side, I've put on the when it's turned over. I've pulled this open here to where it's going to come to, and then I've marked it so I'm going to know where to cut it. Now I'm not going to be allowing any seam allowance because I'm going to be overlocking them, but I am going to be making the legs a little bit wider. Like I said, your back piece is normally bigger than the front, but because I'm making them a bit wider, it's going to compensate that it's got the room that it's going to need. So I'm just going to... It's just overlapping a bit of this. This is the back coming around to the front where it's going over an extra inch. I'm going to take that out there a little bit, and then I'm literally going to allow an inch down the outside, so they're going to be an inch wider. And then on the crotch, because that's coming there from there, this is where I'm going to be coming down. Right, so where that is there, let me just come in a little bit there. So I'm going to cut that shape there, and then where the waist is here, I'm just going to come across from the top of that. Where's the under? There. Right, so let me just get the scissors and cut along here. Okay, so I'm just going to come up the leg. Okay. So that is my one leg. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fetch this piece across. Right, so let me just Get this straight. Okay, so what I've just done is the leg that I've just cut out, I've literally flipped it. This is on the fold again at this side, and literally, so I've got the opposites. When this is cut out, I've got the opposite legs. So I've just laid it flat on here so I know that when it's cut out, it's going to be the exact same as what this one is. So I'm simply going to start by cutting this out. Just get this because it's just weighing and pulling this fabric. So we just put that on that chair. Okay, and then I can simply go straight across the waist. And there I have, when that's opened up, got my two legs. Okay, so that is plain and simple. Okay, so with the overlocker ready to stitch down the legs, and what I've done is I've made sure that the right side of the fabric is inside. I'm simply going to get the bottom of the crutch there, so that's the waist. I've gone to where the point of the crutch is, and I'm simply going to stitch down. Just get that together. It's just slipped a little bit, that, because okay, let's get this together. I'm going to hold this up, and then I'm just going to make sure these edges together, and I'm just going to let the machine take the fabric through. Now at this point I'm just going to check that my stitch is tight enough. Yeah, and that's fabulous. And then let me get to the end. Okay, then I'm going to hold this up. And I'm just taking a tiny bit off as it's overlocking it down. And when I'm holding this fabric up, I'm actually holding it up because then I know there's no chance of it going under and being either cut off with the blade or stitched under. Okay, so that's the first leg. I'm then going to go to the second. And it's not going to make any difference whether I start at the crutch or the hem. To the crutch, put that together, and then I'm just going to put the seams together there. Right, so what I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to put my hand through the leg and I'm going to pull it the right way. Then I'm going to get the other leg, and the one that I've just turned the right way, I'm going to be putting inside the other leg. So one leg is inside the other, okay? And when you come to the crotch, when I've just put them together, you've got the overlock seam there and the overlock seam there. So it's wrong and wrong sides together. And then I'm going to stitch around the crotch. Okay, I'm just going to get the crotch, and I'm going to do it so that one seam goes one way and one seam goes the other way, so you've not got double thickness. So I'm just going to get that seam there, hold that tight, and I'm going to pull this so that it's in line with each other. On my leg, so hopefully it's going to hold some of the weight. Then I'm just going to get the waist, put them together in the centre. Going to hold this up. Okay, and then what I'm going to do then, I'm going to pull both the legs through, and there you've got your pants. So what I'm going to do at this moment in time is I'm going to go and measure Kevin's leg on a pair of his jogging bottoms, so I make sure that I get the leg the exact length that it needs to be. So I've just had to cut 3 inches off the hem. So that's just been cut. So I've actually cut these to a 30-inch leg. So basically under the crotch, where the seam is, I've took the tape measure from there, measured down to a 30-inch, which is allowing me my turn up. Cut it off, and then let's just get these overlocked. Leg 2. There we go. Right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to go and clip the hem up. So here we are at the table, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by turning the legs inside out. I'm going to turn the leg over. Now I've got my measuring gauge, so I'm going to set this to 1.5 inches. And all you do, you simply push that up to the 1.5 inch mark. So I'm going to start by turning this up, and where my sewing gauge is, where the red bit here, this is where you're going to put to the bottom of your hem. Just get so that you can see, because, yeah. So I need to turn that up a little bit more until, yeah, so that there, 4.5 inch, 1.5 inch, sorry. I got 4.5 inch from. And I'm going to keep going the same all the way along. Keep measuring that. And I love these sewing clips. I prefer working with them to pins. I hate pins with a passion. That's one leg. Now also, as a rule, I wouldn't do this. I would just stitch it up on the machine, because when you've been sewing a while, you get to know your measurements, and also you can even get a magnet that you can put at the side of your machine foot that will, you can set it to a certain measurement and just sew it to that, which cuts this process out. But I'm just purely doing it for the sake of the video. Right, so that's both hems done. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do the waist. So I'm going to start by making this into 4/4, so that when I put it on the trousers, it's going to be the same amount of elastic, you know, like the gather in each quarter. Pull that pin. Do this one, the middle. Pin. So I'm going to put my front and my back together, and then I'm going to open it up, and then I'm going to clip at the end. So I've got 2/4 there. I'm going to do the same for the other side. I'm going to put a clip there, and then I'm going to put the elastic to the elastic. Yeah, so I'm going to put that, which is where I've joined it there. I'm going to put that to one of the seams, and I'm going to put it on the wrong side of the fabric. Hold on a minute. There. That's it. Okay, and then I'm going to come to the one at this side. I've got my 2 clips. So I'm simply going to take 1 clip off, and I'm going to make it that one, clip that together, and I'm going to clip this one to the other seam, and then I'm going to take this one, clip to clip, take that one off, clip that there, and then there I've got the same amount of fabric to go into each quarter. So we're here at the Duke, ready to top stitch the hem of the trousers, and I'm going to do it so that it's a twin needle, so I'll be going around it twice. So I'm going to start on the inner leg. So I'm going to get where the crutch is and follow it down the seam, so that when I do back tack, it's on the inside of the leg and not the outside. And then I'm going to run it, when I'm running it round, I'm planning to stitch on the inside of the overlocker. So that is my guideline. Now the overlocking, I'm going to make sure that that goes on the inside, apart from the long taily bits, and it goes in on the inside of the seam, so it's tucked in and not hanging out. Now let me check all the clips off, because we don't need them now, because it has actually been stitched. Now I'm going to turn it so that the right side of the leg is looking up, and where the seam is, the stitch that I've just done, I'm going to make sure that that is on, so it's the outside of the foot that I'm going to use as my guideline for running round it. Make sure that trim all the threads off. And there you can actually see, if you can see because of the colouring, the twin needle. So that is very similar to the twin needling that he actually has on a pair of jogging bottoms. So again, to the opposite leg, I'm going to find the crotch. Yep, found the crotch, run down the leg, so I'm starting on the inner side of the leg. You don't want your back tack to be on the outside, because it'll be showing. Tuck that overlocking in there. again. I'm going to take all the clips off. So I'm going to find where I started stitching with my back tack, and then again I'm going to turn it so I can see the right side. I'm going to put the stitching on the outside of the foot, do my back tack, and then I'm simply going to go run round to get my twin needle. Right, so that's both legs done. Now what I'm going to do before I go onto the overlocker with the elastic waist, I'm simply going to run around it on here first, so it's going to hold it in place. Right, so let me just get... Okay, I'm going to put my needle down. I'm going to stretch this out, and then I'm going to get it in the middle of the first quarter, and then I'm literally going to stitch that so that the fabric is just running alongside the elastic. Right, so let me just get this. Hold across, and then once I get to the clip, I'm going to take the clip out, keep the needle down, go to the next quarter, pull it, get it in the middle, and then I'm going to carry on stitching that in place. Keep making sure that the fabric is running alongside the elastic. Pull it that little bit, take the clip off, put the needle down. Now you're always putting the needle down, because if you're sort of pulling it and you sort of slightly lift your foot, it's going to pull away from the foot if you've not got your needle in. Your needle is holding it in position for you. Excess off. Okay, so I'm going to go round to the overlocker now. So here we are at the overlocker, and I'm basically just going to go round and neaten the edge of that. I'm not going to be cutting anything off it. I'm just going to literally be running it round to neaten it. I'm going to be pulling the elastic so that it's laying flat all the while. I'm not going to go full pelt on this, because with it being elastic, I don't want it to break any needles. Get that down there so it cuts that off. It's going over the join, I'm just going to go a little bit slower over that bit because it's a bit of extra thickness. Now while I'm doing this, when I'm pulling it, I'm not pulling it forward, I'm not pulling it backward, I'm simply pulling the fabric out so that the machine takes it, you know, with no pressure. Right, so let's go back to the dookie. Hi guys, so there's a couple of things you're going to notice in this clip in the video, and that is, 1, the unruly hair, 2, the change of clothes, 3, no makeup. And the reason for that is, when I was actually doing the video, which was 2 days ago, I actually switched my video off at one point to fiddle about with something, and I forgot to turn it back on, so I didn't get the shot I was after. Rookie mistake, of course it is. Now, number 2, which is another rookie mistake, when Kevin come to try the trousers on, when they were finished, they was too long. He was out of the room, walking about him, and he says, I think they're too long, Tina. And when he come in, and what I hadn't took into account, and really, I should have known better, because I've made myself a parent past, and I did make the same bloody mistake. But it's a low crotch. So on these pyjamas, it's a low crotch. Now, for new sewers, what that means is, when you've got your trousers on, if you've got a pair of jeans on, the chances are that the crotch is going to be touching your skin at the crotch. But because of these pyjamas, and they're a low crotch, the crotch hangs at least a couple of inches below, so you don't actually feel the fabric to your skin at your crotch level. And I didn't take that into account. So basically what I've ended up doing is, I said to him, right, I wasn't going to unpick the leg, because it's a fine, lovely, soft t-shirt material. I didn't want to risk getting any holes in it by unpicking it, which is very easily to happen, especially when you're unpicking your with your back tack. And your back tack is when you're going backwards and forwards to secure it, so it's not going to come undone when you wash it. So what I did is, I actually cut all the waist off the elastic, did some new elastic, because I'd sooner just lose a metre elastic at whatever pence it were, and not ruin the trousers. So I'm picking up now from where I left off. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start at the back part. So this is where the elastic is overlapped by 1 inch, and I'm going to simply turn it over. I'm going to put it under the machine, and I'm aiming to stitch where I've got my overlocker. I'm going to stitch in the middle of the overlocking. So let's get in there. And I'm simply going to keep pulling it. I'm going to pull the fabric from underneath here so it's nice and taut here, and I'm just going to guide it through from the back. Now where I started overlocking, I'm going to get the floppy overlocking here, and I'm simply going to tuck that inside so you don't see any messy cotton. Take that out, trim my threads. And if you are just learning to sew, try and get in the habit of holding whatever scissors and snippers you've got like that and just working the two blades with your thumb, because it saves a lot of time than you keep putting your hands in there. You can actually sew and hold them in your hands at the same time. So I'm going to take it now, and I'm going to put it so the right side of the trousers is facing up to me. I'm going to put where I've the seam I've just the row of stitching that I've just done. I'm going to make sure that that is running on the outside, this side of the foot, and that's my guideline for getting the twin needling the same distance all the way around. So again, I'm going to pull it taut. But with this, I'm not stretching it, and I am stretching it, but what I'm not pulling it under the foot. I'm just making sure that the fabric is laying flat, so you're not going to get any tugs, because if you have it like that and stitched, it's stitching these tucks in place. So always just pull it so it's nice and taut, and then let it run through the machine. Right, so what I'm going to do now then, on the back, but the elastic now is underneath this fabric, so you can see it's a nice neat finish. But where I've got the back here, I'm going to actually attach one of my labels that I had made, and it just simply says Tina Bambina with love. So what this is going to tell Kevin is, one, that's the back, and two, if they ever wanted to hang them up, it's got a loop to hang them up on. Okay, so that's all the cottons. So that is the waist, all finished. The nice twin needling, the label inside. So let's go and see if we can get him to try them on. So this is the finished product. That job's a good one. Nice little slouch trousers for him. So just come on for a little bit of a chat as regarding patterns and that. Now you've seen how easy they are to make up. Basically, I did the satin short ones, and that is just an extended version of that by lengthening the leg. And like I said, there's so many things that you could easily, an item of clothing that you've got that you could easily take the pattern off and make another item from it. Like this particular top would be so easy to make. You'd just take the bottom in your jersey and then put your lace top on, and it's just a case of measuring it, allowing any seam allowance if you're not overlocking, and And it's just easy because some patterns are quite pricey to buy as well, depending what you go for. So you could be quids in, and the money you're saving on patterns can buy you fabric. So I hope you've enjoyed this little makeup. And thank you for watching, and see you soon. Bye for now.